My name is Dr. Marie Thouin, and I'm a dating and relationship coach. I am primarily working on Zoom, so I work with folks all over the world on both, dating as a single person or working on relationship or relationships. I work with people across the spectrum from monogamy to non-monogamy. And I did my research for my doctoral program on compersion, which is simply said the opposite of jealousy in non-monogamous relationships. So that's one of my specialties. But what I will be presenting on at the Shaw conference this year is going to be about breakups. So I don't have a research background on breakups, but it is a topic of interest for me because I think there's so many myths in our society around breakups. We see breakups a certain way and we don't always understand them. So I'm excited to go deeper into that topic with the audience. So since I finished my PhD, I have had a bit of an aversion to big academic nonfiction books. And I've been more interested in poetry or things that are not as heavy duty or linear or left brain kind of books. So I've really gotten into bell hooks. So I'm reading right now All About Love, which is still my favorite topic, still my topic of research, still from a brilliant academic, but it's written in a way that I just cannot put it down. It's like beauty, poetry, and candy for the soul. It's just so enriching. I think relationship advice and sex advice, that I've gotten that was really good is don't stay stuck on what you think you want. And it's a little bit counterintuitive because, as a coach, my job is to help people figure out what they want. And I think it's super important to have that self-connection, to have that awareness of what is it that I want, what is it that I don't want, what are my boundaries. And yet, I think to have a fulfilling love life and relationship life in the long run, we cannot stay stuck on just one version of what we think we want on one particular day. We have to evolve with it, and we have to be so present and so attuned to ourselves and our partners with the changes that will naturally occur over time. So yeah, fluidity. Of course, there's a lot of challenges that modern day couples will face nowadays, but I also love to think about these opportunities that generations past didn't have. So I think today there's a lot more acceptance, at least in a lot of places, not everywhere, just a lot more acceptance of non-traditional relationship structures, sexual orientations, gender identities that are outside of the norm, outside of the majority. There's more room for authenticity, and there's more room for equality. I think, like if I talked to my grandmother and really asked her what was the relationship she was in about, and, there was definitely love and affection and companionship, but there was a clear power dynamic of dependency between men and women. And today, the fact that most women are making their own money and don't come at relationship from that perspective of survival, I think we're witnessing a big transition where it is a challenge to really look at another person, for the sake of the relationship, not for the sake of transactionality. And I think that's a beautiful challenge where we can get closer to what love really is. So we're going to start with talking about myths and realities around breakups, and that includes the idea that relationship longevity is the only valid or the best way to measure relationship success. The myth that breakups are always a bad thing. And the myth that, the person doing the breakup or start, igniting the breakup is going to have an easier time than the person on the receiving end. So we're going to talk about things like that we would just assume but are not true. Then we're going to talk about heartbreak, because even though I don't believe all breakups are bad. I think all breakups are hard. And there are reasons for that, and there are biological and social and personal reasons. So we're going to look interdisciplinarily at heartbreak and really kind of create more understanding around what happens when we have those attachment ruptures that are so difficult. And then we're going to talk about how do we support our clients, because I know a lot of the audience is going to be practitioners like me, coaches, counselors, therapists. So we have to support our clients who are going through breakups, and what are some ways to do that? Well, I think we cannot talk about love and sex and, those beautiful relationship topics without talking about the dark side, quote unquote, to use an academic term. So we have to talk about the easy and the difficult. We have to talk about the fun and the not so fun. And I think talking about breakups is something that, if we destigmatize that topic, because really, like, there's something still, I think, very shameful about breakups. Like when when people divorce, oftentimes they have to go through a lot of shame and feeling of personal failure. So the more we talk about it openly and remove the shame around that topic, then the more we can really live our relationships from a place of authenticity and and goodness.